Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a book that's honestly more of a legend than just a book. It's called The Greatest Salesman in the World, but you probably know it by another name, the Sheepskin Scrolls.
You see that line, "I will persist until I succeed." That one sentence really gets to the heart of the powerful, timeless wisdom hidden inside these scrolls. I mean, they've guided millions of people. But what exactly is their secret? All right, let's dig in and figure out what makes this book such a phenomenon.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with the legend of the scrolls, then jump into the story behind them. We'll break down the three main pillars of wisdom, talk about the 30-day habit method, which is super important, and then see how all this ancient wisdom stacks up in our modern world. And finally, we'll touch on what it means to craft your own legacy.
All right, so first things first, what even are the Sheepskin Scrolls? Well, they're at the core of a book written way back in 1968 by a guy named Og Mandino. In this book, it pretty much became a cornerstone of the whole self-help movement.
And when I say cornerstone, I mean it. The impact of this book is just huge. We're talking over 50 million copies sold all around the world. It's been translated into dozens of languages, and it's become this kind of super brand for success literature, especially over in Asia. It's a massive deal.
But here's the thing that trips a lot of people up. You see the title, The Greatest Salesman in the World, and you think it's a sales manual, right? Well, it's not. Not really. This book isn't about hawking products. It's a guide for completely transforming yourself from the inside out, using these universal principles to reshape how you approach every single challenge.
Okay, so the wisdom in these scrolls isn't just laid out like a textbook. It's wrapped up in this really powerful story. Let's get into that narrative because it really sets the stage for everything else.
So the whole thing centers around this character named Hafid. He starts out as a poor camel boy, and he wants to become a great salesman to win the heart of a rich merchant's daughter. Classic story, right? But here's the twist. His mentor gives him one single robe to go sell in Bethlehem. But what does Hafid do? He fails. He doesn't sell it. Instead, he sees this newborn baby shivering in a manger and just gives the robe away. And that act, that moment of compassion, not his business skills, is what proves he's worthy. That's when he gets the 10 sacred scrolls. It's all about character, not commerce.
So what's actually in these 10 scrolls? Well, together they offer a whole philosophy for life. And to make it easier to understand, we can group all their big ideas into 3 core pillars. Pillar number 1 is all about mastering yourself, your inner world. It starts with this idea that you are, quote, nature's greatest miracle. You have to embrace what makes you unique. Then it's about getting a handle on your emotions so they don't control you. It's also about learning to laugh at the world, keeping things in perspective. The scrolls basically say that our biggest enemies aren't out there, they're in here. It's self-deception and self-pity that really hold us back.
Okay, so once you've worked on your inner self, pillar 2 is all about action. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's about taking those internal beliefs and turning them into real-world results. This part is a killer antidote for procrastination and fear. It's all about relentless persistence, living each day like it's your last, and most importantly, acting now. Because let's be real, dreams are totally worthless if you don't do anything about them.
And finally, pillar 3. This one is all about mastering your relationships. It's about how you interact with everyone else. The core idea here is to greet every day with love in your heart. Love is presented as your best weapon and your best shield. It's about giving genuine praise because everyone wants to feel important. You got to drop that mindset of what can this person do for me and instead focus on real connection. Basically, how you see other people is how they're going to end up seeing you.
Now, this is what I think is so brilliant about this book. It's not just a bunch of nice-sounding philosophy. It gives you a concrete system, an actual method for making these changes stick. It's almost technical, the way it lays out how to embed these ideas right into your life.
And the whole system is built on one simple but super powerful idea from the very first scroll. It says, I will form good habits and become their slave. Think about that. We're all slaves to our habits anyway, right? So the key is to consciously choose which habits are going to be your master. You're not just getting rid of bad habits. You're actively replacing them, crowding them out with good ones.
And this right here, this is the engine that makes it all work. The 30-day repetition rule. Here's how it goes. You take just one scroll, and for 30 days straight, that's all you focus on. You have to read it 3 times every single day, silently when you wake up, silently at noon, and then, this is important, aloud before you go to sleep. Only after 30 days do you move on to the next scroll. The whole thing takes 10 months. This isn't just reading. It's a form of deep programming. The repetition is designed to get past all your conscious doubts and write these principles straight into your subconscious until they become second nature, like an instinct.
Okay, so this all sounds great. It's powerful stuff, but let's be real for a second. How does this kind of ancient wisdom actually hold up in our modern, often cutthroat world? That's a fair question, and the source material actually gives us a pretty stark reality check.
This is where things get really interesting. Look at this contrast. The scroll says, greet this day with love in your heart. But reality says, the marketplace can be full of fraud and you need to get things in writing. The scroll says, persist until you succeed. But real life teaches us that sometimes you have to know when to cut your losses. Blind persistence can be a disaster. The scroll says, act now. But experience tells us you better learn the ropes first. Be a student before you try to be a master. It's a fascinating balance, isn't it?
So here's the big takeaway from all this. Real, lasting success isn't one or the other. It requires both. You need that strong, noble character you get from the scrolls, but you also need the street-smart, practical wisdom of the marketplace. Think of it like this. You need an internal compass to know where you're going, but you also need a map to navigate the real-world terrain.
All right, we're almost at the end, but there are two final and really profound conditions that came with inheriting the power of these scrolls. And these conditions show that true success is about way more than just making money.
The first condition was this. You have to give half, yes, half, of everything you earn to those who are less fortunate. That's a pretty radical idea, right? The philosophy behind it is that wealth has to flow. It has to be shared. Otherwise, it just becomes a prison for your soul. It's a powerful reminder that you're not just building something for yourself. You're supposed to be a steward of your success, creating value for everyone.
So in the end, it all comes back to habits. The scrolls teach us that every huge journey, every massive transformation, it all starts with forming just one single positive habit. So I want to leave you with a question, a challenge really. After hearing all of this, what is the one good habit that you're going to begin today?